Now, this is in connection with the Congress presidential polls. Why exactly is Mallikarjun Kharge in the race for the polls? Well, he's the leader of the House in the Rajya Sabha. He's a loyalist and he's close to all three Gandhis. He is a representative of the Dalits. He is also from poll-bound Karnataka and he speaks both English and Hindi. But beyond this, he also helps Rahul's mission south, as the Congress is convinced that what they cannot gain in the north, they can make up for it in the south. But the flip side is that he'll be out of the Karnataka CM race. Will that make him happy? And what about Karnataka Congress chief D.K. Shivkumar then? I'm crossing over to our senior editor, Pallavi Ghosh, to give us more details on this. Pallavi, essentially, we've just gone through a bunch of reasons as to why Kharge is in the race. Tell us more.
Well, I mean, it's very clear since yesterday and late last night of those fast-paced developments, especially since Ashok Gehlot walked out of the race, that is there a consensus candidate which the top Congress leadership is looking at. We do know that Vijay Singh, K.N. Tripathi and Shashi Tharoor have already picked up their nomination forms, and in a short while from now, they are going to be filing their nomination papers. But there are doubts about each one of them. I think Vijay Singh also kind of indicated yesterday when he spoke to me that should there be a consensus candidate, then he can opt out of the race. In that sense, Mallikarjun Kharge is clearly emerging as the front runner. In all likelihood, he may file his nomination papers today. We've already enumerated the reasons why Kharge is going to be chosen. But I think in the choice of Kharge will also be reflected the fact that how the Congress top leadership has not been able to be keeping themselves out. The Gandhis certainly have not been able to keep themselves out of the presidential race. And the second thing is that they have been looking around and searching for that one person who they hope can keep the party together.
So right now, Kharge is essentially emerging as the front runner. But then what does this mean for the other candidates as well? When we talk about Tharoor, when we talk about K.N. Tripathi as well, because they have collected the forms.
I mean, the last day for withdrawal of nomination forms is on the 8th. And I think the real picture actually comes out then. For argument's sake, if all the four file their nomination papers today, and who knows who withdraws on 8th. I mean, Vijay Singh did say that in my interview, that if I feel that there is a strong candidate, then I have no qualms. And if I get an indication from the Gandhis, I have no qualms about withdrawing from the race. So will there be more withdrawals and who will be the single person? Voting takes place on 17th of October. In case there's only one person left after the withdrawal, then obviously elections are not required. And that person will be deemed to be the Congress president. Possibly, that could also be one of the game plans of the Congress leadership.
Now, Pallavi, one more question for you. Pavan Bansal, he collected 2 forms. That's the information that we were getting. Do we know by any chance who the second form could be for?
See, he's ruled himself out of the race. He said he was only keeping it for someone else and for contingency. And since then, we all have been speculating about who can be that mystery person. Kharge possibly could be that mystery person. I think we'll just have to wait for yesterday an hour or two. 11 o'clock, the nomination begins, and a fair idea and a sense of who's coming in to file their nominations.
All right. Thank you so much for giving us all of those details. Essentially, I also do want to ask you one more question, though. What is the information that we're getting about the fight between... All right, we'll try to reestablish that connection with our editor, Pallavi Ghosh, to get us more details. But right now, essentially, she gave us a bunch of reasons as to why Kharge is emerging as a frontrunner when it comes to the presidential polls. Now, remember, today at around 12:15 p.m., Shashi Tharoor, who has also been seen as a frontrunner for the polls, he is going to be filing his nomination. Now, beyond this as well, when it comes to the reasons that Kharge emerges as a frontrunner, is that he's the leader of the House in the Rajya Sabha. But one flip side of this that we do want to point out is that he's out of the Karnataka chief minister race. Will that make him happy? And what happens with D.K. Shivkumar? And now I'm also going to be posing this question to our senior editor, Pallavi Ghosh, who is now returning. Now, Pallavi, essentially, as per the information that we're getting, because Kharge is a frontrunner, we also want to know what happens with D.K. Shivkumar at this point.
I mean, the two are in a way linked and also de-linked. We also know that Kharge and D.K. Shivkumar do not have a very good equation going. And there's a deep-rooted rivalry in Karnataka Congress as well.